Hey guys, it's me, 80s More for 4. Welcome back to the second channel, guys. I'm sorry I haven't really been uploading a lot here. I've been really busy with the main channel, of course, and obviously, got some work to do. It's been really busy with college, man. I'm like every single week I'm bombarded with assignments, and the spare time I do have, I dedicate to my main channel and even do some other stuff. It's very difficult to have a work-life balance. So that's why I told you guys from the beginning that this channel will be kind of like a side thing. I'll do this, try to get this done once a week, and that kind of thing. And so, hope you guys do not mind that. And without further ado, let's go ahead and get started. So, the video today I want to talk about is I want to do another total drama related video. And today, my topic for today will be why Alejandro for me is the best antagonist in total drama history. It's really a shame because there isn't really much competition for this spot. The only person that you could try to maybe say rivals Alejandro is probably Heather. She's probably the closest one to him. And I'm going to be explaining why I personally prefer him over to her. And I'll explain that in a bit towards the later parts of this video. But I just want to preface in saying that there's really not been great villains in this franchise. Like, the only really good villains are him and Heather. You could also say the Ice Dancers, but they're kind of a spin off and they're kind of redonkulous racing. It's a bit different to this. I'm going to give you guys my quick opinion through everyone. Let's just go through an opinion on everyone. So, obviously, Heather, iconic, amazing. We're going to get to her in a bit. Justin, Justin was okay. Courtney, she was decent. I liked her as a villain, but she doesn't really compare to Courtney, Alejandra, and Heather. I'll probably put her third. And then obviously World Tour. Here we are. Scott, no. Mal, no. Sugar, no. And Scarlet, no. Like literally, there's only two other characters, and even Courtney to some extent doesn't really fit into this. And obviously, I'll discuss about her too as well. But let's talk about why Alejandro for me is the best. The biggest reason why I consider Alejandro to be the best is simply because no, you don't really know his true intentions, and it's very, very, very difficult to read into him because when you originally first see him, he is initially portrayed as a very nice guy. He's a guy that you should be friends with. He's a nice guy. He's the new guy. You would think like he's very naive to everything. However, he's very intelligent. He's very smart, and going through the scenes, and basically by the time they figure out his true nature, it's already too late. They've already been eliminated. And it's crazy. By the end of the World Tour, he became one of the most popular contestants to probably being the least popular contestant. And it's very interesting because even though they don't like Heather at all, they even pick Heather to win World Tour. A lot of the fans, a lot of the people in the peanut gallery prefer her to him to win Total World Tour. So I think that just shows a lot how much hatred he's gained a lot of the competitors. And I also find it really interesting. He's also eliminated pretty much like majority of the characters in World Tour. Most of the eliminations that happen in World Tour, 95% of them he's contributed in, which is incredible. Like, as good as Heather is, she didn't really contribute that significant amount of figure. And same goes to Courtney as well. She didn't contribute either. And that for me is the first reason why I really prefer. Another reason why I think Alonso is also a better antagonist is simply because of the fact that he doesn't rely on luck, which has been one of my criticisms with other antagonists, Courtney and Heather. I feel like they've had to rely on luck to bail them out on several times. Of course, Alondra has had some luck. Obviously, you look at the World Tour episode 23, you can argue he should have obviously been eliminated if it wasn't for Sierra messing things up. But like I said, obviously everyone is going to require a little luck. But I just feel with Alejandro, he doesn't require that so much. Just a very few times he needs it you know. And I just feel like for me, he was a very, very well crafted villain. I think, and looking back on All Stars, you know how people say All Stars is generally one of the worst seasons ever, and it derailed pretty much almost all the Gen 1 characters. I think he's probably the rare exception that you can still say he's decent. Okay, now, obviously, was he that good in All Stars compared to World Tour? Obviously, World Tour is better. But I think in All Stars he had a decent appearance, a decent showing, and probably was one of the more interesting characters, probably the one of the more better characters in a season. So now let's talk about why Heather and Courtney just don't do it for me. Let's start with Heather first, since I originally mentioned her first. Yes, Heather is the iconic. She is the most original antagonist, and obviously she is a great antagonist. I consider her to be the second best in the franchise. The reason why I don't consider her first is because of the fact that I personally found the way she tried to eliminate people be a bit lucky. Look at what she did in World Tour, Island, for instance, right? And for example, a marshmallow episode, I forgot what it was. The episode, I think, Search and Do Not Destroy. It was like a treasure hunt episode. She somehow got the invincibility statue, and then you look at the episode where in the trial by armed athlon, she could have got eliminated in that episode. They didn't. Like, there's been several episodes where you can clearly, evidently tell she probably should have been eliminated, but obviously because of plot, they kept her on, which obviously makes sense. But there should be a justification, you know, as well as the fact that as good as Heather was, she didn't really convey her skills very properly. She wasn't able to get a lot of people to go on her side, and she had to use a lot of her pawns like Beth and Lindsay to do the dirty work for her. And obviously, her whenever she did try to convince people, it was for the worse. And obviously, people didn't like it, and it's very hard to get a trust of her. Now, as for Courtney, I just find Courtney to be a very, very too powerful. She just had too much to herself. She was way too skilled and way too good, and that's another problem with antagonists is that I don't want because with Courtney, it just seemed like she was just too OP. It just seemed like she was too OP, and for me personally speaking, it's not realistic. It's not realistic. If you're too OP, it's not realistic because she had the PDA, she had those skills and gadgets, and it was really, really ridiculous how she made it all the way that far. I mean, obviously it makes sense, but in the grand scheme of things, she was kept winning invincibility. That's also another reason why I prefer Alejandro because he didn't really require the invincibility thing at World Tour. I think he only won one episode. He got the invincibility statue. Other than that, I think he won pretty much. He had to actually fend for himself. Was Courtney and Heather? They had to require immunity several times to bail them out. You know, so I think that also shows how good Alejandro is in the sense that okay, I don't need immunity all the time to save me. I can rely without immunity and still advance further in competition, which you got to give credit to. You know. So overall, my opinion is I think Alejandro is the best antagonist in total drama history. Like I said, some honorable mentions goes to Courtney and Heather. The Ice Dancers also is a really good contention. I think they were very close. But the reason why I don't pick Ice Dancers as number one for me, personally speaking, because it's kind of similar to Courtney in the sense that they did everything they could to win. They had to go through. They did a lot of cheating, a lot of resorting to cheating, and they just didn't like. I feel like they could have done so much more things better. You know, I but like I said, it is a bit difficult to compare because one is with challenges, one is with voting. So I'm not really sure if you can really make good comparisons with that. So that's why I didn't really bring them up. But you could definitely make an argument. But I still think Alejandro's the best. I still think Alejandro's the best antagonist in this. So I want you guys to comment down below. Do you guys agree with me? Do you guys agree that Alejandro is the best antagonist in total drama history? Like I said, I'm sure there are going to be some debates. I'm sure some of you guys are going to argue for Heather. I'm sure someone's going to argue for Courtney. Some probably is going to argue for the Ice Dancers. You can make valid points, but this is just my opinion, guys. This is just my opinion. So, like I said, I think we're going to round up the video here. So, if you guys are new around here, remember, guys, to subscribe to the channel. Like this video if you did enjoy. Make sure you guys comment down below your thoughts in the comment section below. And also, please, please, guys, I really do mean it does mean a lot. If you can subscribe to my main channel is the same thing as this, except it's 8744, not with the extra. So there will be a link tree in the description below where all the social media platforms are there, and you guys can click on there to find my main YouTube channel. So I really appreciate all the support. My main YouTube channel is a football based channel, by the way. So there's just some description there. So I hope you guys did enjoy, and I'll see you guys later. Peace out.